Steven, who dat? Who dat? Who dat said that Derek Carr was going to sign with the Saints?
You said they were going to trade for him for Michael Thomas and like a third and a fourth round and a fifth round pick in 2027 and then like a sixth rounder in 2029. I don't know, whatever crazy trade scenario.
Well, if they handle things better, that's what should have happened.
And also, like when you choose like three different teams, because you were on the Saints at first, then the Jets, but then
I
you
was
were
never on the Jets.
then you
Never.
were on the Panthers.
I was on the Panthers last week.
And then you were on the Saints. So you are you basically covered all your bases early on. So you're bound to get one of those teams right.
I mean, I got the division right, so that counts for something.
Yeah. Well, does it? Yeah, I guess
it doesn't. I thought that Frank Reich was going to lure him with the scripture, but I guess the Saints offered more money.
You know, I was thinking about that though. Like, I know we want to get into it, but you know, do your intro. I'll share my thoughts on it once you're done.
Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We got a ton to get to today. We'll talk about all the stuff that went down today, NFL wise, some football, some UFC for you. Talk a little stand-up comedy and the movie that we get the namesake of this podcast. But Stephen, we've been waiting a while for this news to break since Derek Carr was released by the Raiders, and it was official today. The Saints, who were talking with Derek Carr initially until, they were trying to work out a trade, and a trade didn't come to fruition, basically because why would Derek Carr need to do that, and why would the Saints need to do that? So they found a way for Derek Carr to get out of the Raiders, and, he told the Raiders, I'm not going to accept the trade. And Derek Carr ends up going to the New Orleans Saints on a 4-year, $150 million deal. 100 of it is totally guaranteed. 70 of it gets fully guaranteed within the first 3 seasons. And, he goes to New Orleans to team up with his first head coach that drafted him, Dennis Allen.
Well, it's up to $100 million in guarantees, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, they got him on a good deal, man. It's just, I guess, when I was thinking about like, why would he be traded? So he could get paid and compensated for what the Raiders were going to pay him for the rest of those 2 years on that contract. But $37.5 million per year is not too bad, not too shabby for him. And really, he made the right call. And yes, Ernie, already 740 notices Langford in the new place. Yep, same couch, new place, all moved in, except not really, because it's just the living room is just stacked right now, and I don't know where anything is. I don't know where my microphone is. I don't know where the adapter to install my microphone is. I left my AirPods in my car, and I switched cars with my mom so I could have a bigger car so I could carry stuff in that bigger car.
I don't want to hear all these excuses.
It's a mess right now, Derek. It's an absolute mess. Is it excuses or reasons?
A little bit of both, but it's a little eyesore from the original background you had.
Yeah, I know. The amount of spackling that I'm going to have to do at the old place, I got it until Wednesday.
No, that sounds dirty.
Dude, I got to spackle all over the walls, Derek.
Jesus.
I do. What do you want me to say, man? I got to
it just the word spackle just sounds weird to me.
I got to go to Home Depot. I got to spackle up the walls, man.
gotta ask some people at Home Depot. Can you help me spackle?
Spackle. Where were we?
Spackle? Wasn't right the first time you said it.
Carr. Not shocked that he got the deal done. But this is it for him. Like, as far as proving, you're the guy. Like, the excuses need to stop for him. You know what I mean? Like, it's like right now you're in the NFC South. You're the best quarterback in that division. There's no other quarterback that can touch you right now.
I mean, by default.
Well, yeah, but what do you think? Kyle Trask is going to overtake him? You think Kyle Trask is going to surpass him as the best in the?
Well, let's see if Tampa Bay settles on Kyle Trask as their starting quarterback. I find that hard to believe.
Well, yeah, but like, who else was better than Carr through free agency? Like, who else can they acquire?
Baker Mayfield.
I don't think Baker Mayfield can be better than Carr.
I don't know. And that's the thing, is that I don't know how this is going to look, because we said this before, Steven. The Saints are in salary cap hell. Yeah. And they restructured a couple of contracts before they signed Derek Carr today.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta believe that this team that Derek Carr is on right now is not going to look the same once we actually start playing football. I don't know if Michael Thomas is going to be on this team, and I would think he's not going to be with how little he's played over the last few seasons. And hell, with what's going on with Alvin Kamara and his legal situation with beating up the guys in Vegas during the
Yeah.
Pro, I don't know if he's going to be on the Saints. I think they got to make some moves to lower the salary cap down, and they got to, you know, do some retooling themselves. I don't know if they're going to have the same weapons that Drew Brees had that we're all expecting them to. Like, he'll have Chris Olave, but I don't know if he's going to have Michael Thomas or Alvin Kamara on this team.
You mentioned the name. You said, Frank Reich was going to lure him in with that good book. Well, what about Drew Brees? Apparently, Drew Brees had a heavy hit. Although that was frustrating because you're trying to get as much info as you can on this stuff, so you're following all the insiders. I mean, you sent me the Garofolo one where he said David. Ian Rappaport, I think, said David later on. And then there was also a tweet that they retweeted where somebody said, "Here's the step-by-step process in how the Saints signed Derek Carr." And then I open it up, and the damn thing's behind a paywall. So I'm like, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do? Open up a 6-week free trial with this random site from New Orleans so I can follow the step-by-step process? No, thank you. But I did see that Drew Brees was the headline.
I'm just waiting for when we get the Aaron Rodgers news for the first person to tweet out tomorrow. Just types Artson.
Someone has to.
Yeah.
Someone has to. Carson Rodgers.
Yeah, no, that was a faux pas for old Mike Garofolo today. I mean, he works with David Carr, so it makes sense. But
right.
It's funny too because everybody has their graphics now. Like everybody has like a Photoshop photo of Derek Carr in a Saints jersey, and it's all perfect. And then someone fucks up. Oh shit, I meant Derek, not David. Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of those. But yeah, I don't know what I mean. Yes, Derek Carr is the best quarterback in the NFC South by default right now, and we said that last year when he was the fourth quarterback in the AFC West, but we still thought he was good. I still think he's good. I still think he's got plenty of football to play, and it's smart of him to get another no trade clause in this deal. But I don't know how good the Saints are going to be. They may have to do a whole rebuild / retooling with Derek Carr as the quarterback. I don't know if Cam Jordan's going to be on this team. So yeah, we'll see how they are as a team. But I think Derek Carr made the right move. It sounded like he wasn't going to wait around for the Jets. The Jets were, they blew all this smoke up his ass by saying, "Oh, we're going to get, you're going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback if you play for us."
First ballot.
First ballot.
We gotta add that part in there. First ballot's a major promise like that.
Yeah, that's also what you say when you also tell the guy, we believe all this stuff until Aaron Rodgers says no.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Derek Carr didn't go to the Jets because what the hell's going to happen with Zach Wilson? I still want to know what's going to happen with that. So we shall find out what happens with Arson Rodgers the next couple of days here. But I think Derek Carr made the right move, playing in the dome. Doesn't have to worry about the weather as much. I mean, he is an NFL quarterback, so eventually he's going to have to play in the cold.
Right.
But for 9 or 8 games a season, he's going to be in the confines of a dome structure, which will benefit him.
Yeah, I understand that concern with Zach Wilson, but I'm still going to stand by my whole thing that the Jets had the best weapons that he could have worked with and the best up and coming team. Like, I don't know. It's the Saints. I don't really know where they're at right now, especially like on defense. I know that they were missing a few key guys this season, so I don't think they're like they had a lot of. I remember they had like 6 of their star players on defense out because of injury, like all at the same time. I think like Lattimore and Cam Jordan and all those guys. I don't know what that defense is going to look like next year, but you do need to have, I think, a good defense behind Carr, and I thought the Jets were going to give him that. But as far as who the Saints are playing this year, or next year rather, I don't know. What do we call this? I guess it's not the start of the new league year yet until next week. So I guess
this upcoming year.
No, you know what? We're counting it next. I'm calling it next year until next week. Next year, Derek.
That's so you're not counting it until the fuckery starts?
Well, it's because it's not the new league year yet, Derek. It's like this. This is basically like Christmas time.
The new fiscal year you're referring to?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm referring to. Yeah. So March 15th, and not when the negotiations for free agents start on the 13th. No, I'm talking 15th. That's when it's this year.
Yeah, because that's when it's official.
Officially. But I'm looking at their schedule, right? So at home, they're going to have obviously the Falcons, Bucks, Panthers. We don't even need to mention them.
Yeah.
But at home, they got Chicago, Detroit. So they're playing the NFC North. And then they got the Jags, the Titans, and the Giants.
Okay, so they
So,
play the AFC South, so they're not going to play the Raiders this year.
and then they're playing the Raiders, I think, in 2024. I think that's how the schedule is
Okay.
shaking out. I think that's how it's rotating. And then away, they're going to have the Packers, the Texans, the Colts, the Vikings, the Rams, and the Patriots. So really, Carr, like he's not going to have to, outside of Trevor Lawrence, like he's not going to have to face any of those daunting quarterbacks that you'd normally have to face in the AFC. You know, he's in like when you're talking about, I don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. So maybe he'll play Aaron Rodgers away, but you're facing the Texans. I mean, who's the quarterback of the Colts next year?
Bryce Young, did you hear Jim Irsay give it away?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Bryce. Okay. Yeah. Depending on who they draft. Um, 5'10", 195. Shout out to Bryce Young. I think that was his measurement. And then the
Well,
Vikings,
we'll see if he's number one pick after those measurements.
the Rams, and the Patriots. And maybe if nobody yells at Mac Jones, he'll be a little bit better of a version of himself than he was last year. Maybe he'll look more like his rookie Pro Bowl version of himself if nobody yells at him. So I think when I'm looking at those quarterback matchups, though, I mean, Carr seems to have the edge in a lot of them. This move does make sense if he wants to have immediate success. Like, I think he knows that he doesn't really have a year to kind of get into the groove of things. I think people are expecting results.
Yeah, and they should because he's a NFL quarterback, and you know he's not going to have the same expectations they did with the Raiders this season. But I mean, he's the best quarterback in that division right now. But we'll see what other moves are made. I'm assuming Carolina is going to now make a move to probably get a quarterback in the draft. I can't believe Tampa Bay just going to sit idly by and wait for Kyle Trask to start games this season. And there is a huge rumor going around that Lamar Jackson may get traded to the Falcons. I don't know. We shall see. But as of right now, Derek Carr is the best quarterback in this division.
Yep.
And, I kind of like the fact that he's teaming up with Dennis Allen because they didn't really get a chance to play together. Derek didn't get a chance to play for Dennis Allen. He played 4 games with him, and then they went 0-4, and Dennis Allen was left behind in London. So I think Dennis Allen could be a great defensive coach. I don't know about him as an overall coach. That's the one thing I wonder about this is that I was hoping he get, the one knock on Derek Carr is we always hear that his offensive coordinators change all the time. I couldn't tell you at the top of my head who's the OC for the Saints right now, but it would be good for him to be paired up with a offensive minded head coach. Regardless, Dennis Allen's a good coach. I don't know, how it's going to fare going forward, but um, I think he made the right choice. The question is that we already know Derek Carr already has, for whatever reason, kind of a southern drawl, as you do in your impression. Oh man, so
Just get even more southern. Yeah, you know what I mean? That was his latest thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but now is he going to go full Brian Kelly, LSU coach, going
Yeah.
from Notre Dame to LSU? Is he going to like, oh man, my whole family?
Yeah. Who that say gonna be them Saints? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah.
he just slowly just turns into Ed Orgeron as time goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. By year 4 of his contract, by the time 2027 comes around, it's going to be full on Derek Orgeron. Pete Carmichael is the Saints.
Oh, Pete Carmichael, yes.
Yeah.
So the same one they've always had.
Yes, he's in his 15th season and replaced Doug Marrone as the offensive coordinator in 2009. How about that?
Ah, Marone on the bone.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
There you go. And I think it's a good spot for Derek. Derek, everyone could say he's corny and cheesy. I agree with you. But also, he is a man of his word. And I think that, well, besides the whole, I'm never going to play for another team if I leave the Raiders.
Yeah.
But circumstances, change that. So I think he's going to be like Drew Brees in the sense that he's going to be very out in the community. He is going to be he's gonna be a New Orleans guy. He's probably gonna do a lot of charity work, and I could see him being um, very gracious with his time off the field in the city of New Orleans, as Drew Brees was.
Well, yeah, but also, Drew Brees had one of the most catastrophic events like of all time in American history, and then their team won the Super Bowl that year. That was just
Well, yeah.
looking back on that, that's just crazy. That's just insane that that happened. But no, I agree with you. It's always a good fit with Derek. But again, man, like it's just I'm kind of waiting to see what he looks like in December. You know, like I don't know
Yeah.
if the Saints are a playoff team next year. They probably are, based on the NFC South.
But
You know,
that's who the hell knows right now?
but no one knows anything about what's going to happen. Like for all we know, one of those teams in the NFC South could be for example, I don't know, the Panthers or something like that, who don't appear to be rebuilding. They still got Brian Burns on the defensive end, and they're building around him. On offense, they seem to be able to survive without Christian McCaffrey for a little bit. I didn't notice it too much for toward the end of the season, but I remember they were doing just fine with Chuba Hubbard, and I think Deontay Foreman was the other running back,
Yeah.
or running back by
Yeah.
committee on that one. They got a good wide receiver core. Maybe the Panthers can be that team. I don't know. Maybe the Falcons can. Like Arthur Smith's a pretty good head coach. Like maybe, but I
If
need to
things
see it in December. That's what it comes down to. I just need to see it in December and in playoff time. That's it.
I'm telling you, if things go south with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, that's the Falcons of the team I'm looking at. But
So you're saying if things go south, he's going to go south.
yes,
Uh,
and we'll find out tomorrow because franchise tag deadline is tomorrow. So as of right now, Tom Pelissero reported late last night that the Ravens, Eric DeCosta, the general manager, and Lamar Jackson are hard at work. They're in Miami trying to hammer out a deal, and if they cannot get one done by tomorrow, then he will be franchise tagged, and we will see where things go from there. Because everything, really weird situation going on with Baltimore Ravens, where the GM is saying that the wide receivers aren't very good, and then Rashad Bateman calls him out in a tweet, and yeah, I don't know. I like the old way Raven way of kind of like not giving out huge big contracts. They obviously paid their premier guys in the past like Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and Ed Reed. They gave Joe Flacco his big deal after he won the Super Bowl, but I don't know if they're willing to give what Lamar's asking for with this Deshaun Watson guaranteed money. And Derek Carr got a shit ton of money today too,
right.
over 100 million guaranteed. So we'll see what happens with Lamar Jackson. But another quarterback got paid today too, Geno Smith. He will not be franchise tagged. He's going to be the Seahawks QB going forward. He gets 3 years, $105 million, and 52 of it next season. So not a huge deal, but a appropriate one for what he accomplished last season and all that he's been through as a journeyman quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't know. What do the Seahawks really expect to do with Geno Smith? Like he's good,
But
but
not great.
to lock him in for the next 3 years, I don't know. That to me is just. I mean, that's just. I think eventually they're going to have to find a rookie quarterback, and then
They
toward the end,
they very well could this season.
yeah. I mean that's what that's telling me. Maybe they're just in a like I don't. Maybe the Seahawks are just in a spot right now where they don't even feel like they can. I don't. They made the wild card last year, though. I don't know the whole thing. When I looked at
Yeah,
that, I was like, I get it, but 3 years, 105 million. That's a reasonable price. It's not like they're overpaying for him. It's just the 3 year number. I don't know what direction the Seahawks are really headed after that deal. Um,
well, I mean, as we see with the Rams, terms of a deal don't mean shit. They're basically getting rid of all their guys they got a year ago.
yeah.
Bobby Wagner is going to get cut. Allen Robinson. Like I read Jordan Rodriguez uh, article on the Rams from a season ago. Very interesting article about Sean McVay not just very frustrated with the team this past season, and then kind of just go like getting down on himself because the team wasn't doing well offensively. But Matthew Stafford couldn't do anything in the offseason workouts, and Allen Robinson, they barely play together in training camp, so it didn't translate well in regular season, and now they want to get rid of him. So the news today, if we do a little fuckery update,
Uh huh.
Frank Clark is going to get cut by the Chiefs,
Yep.
and the Rams are going to. I mean, we already know they're getting rid of Jalen Ramsey. That trade go down in a couple days here. Um, They're cutting Bobby Wagner, as we said before, and they're going to release Leonard Floyd, and they're trying to trade Allen Robinson, who was just there a season ago, and the offensive line wasn't holding long enough for Matthew Stafford to find anybody but Cooper Kupp. So I think that's a little crazy to get rid of him after one season, after they sign him to a 3-year deal. But it looks like the Rams are rebuilding or real tooling. Like they're not going to go into a full rebuild because they got Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp. But it sounds like they're trying to get by with what they can and get the salary cap down because fuck them picks is not translating well to wins last season.
Yeah, something's going on with Allen Robinson, man. Like you're speaking logically, like with how with him, it's like why would you give up on him just after one season, especially when you essentially traded Von Miller for him? Like that's what I think you got in return for the Von Miller trade. So like that's essentially what you did.
Him
And
and Bobby Wagner. That money would have equaled just one of them.
there's no excuse me, and there was no return on investment. But just after 1 year, like there had to have been something going on. I don't know what it was. Like you mentioned him and Stafford didn't really work too much together. But even when Stafford was in, like Allen Robinson was not getting the ball, not nearly as much as everyone thought that he was going to. So
No.
something happened there. Like it, I know Stafford and Cooper Kupp, like with the amount that they've worked, at least work together during that Super Bowl season. Like you do need to get reps with one another. But at the end of the day, it's a quarterback throwing to a wide receiver. Like they could figure it out as they go along, and they just didn't even seem to do it at a decent rate last year. So I don't know what's going on with them. I was a little surprised by that, but I also think Allen Robinson has had like just an unfortunate career. Dude's
No, he
so
to-
talented.
no, he totally has. We all thought he was going to break out with the Rams and be a red zone guy, but the offensive line couldn't hold long enough for Stafford to find somebody other than Cooper Kupp or Skoranek or you know whoever the fuck. And yeah, I think it's kind of weird they're getting rid of him after one season. But then there was rumors of them wanting to trade him at the deadline last year. So
Hmm.
who knows? They may be back in the mix to get Robert Woods or Brandon Cooks, one of their old guys. So we'll see about that. But the other news that happened today, and this is no surprise, Josh Jacobs got tagged, so he will not be getting a new deal as of yet. But this is the smart move for the Raiders. No surprise here. Don't let him walk. And he gets paid the average salary of the top 5 running backs in football. So we'll see if they get a long-term deal going. But not the end of the world. I don't think that Josh Jacobs will complain that he has to play one season on the tag. So yeah, all in all, I think that the Raiders will still figure out the quarterback situation, and they locked up the running back that led the league in rushing a year ago.
Yeah, I don't know what their extended term or extended deal would have been, but there was a real chance that they could have just, in his eyes, kind of like with what's going on with Daniel Jones and the Giants, where they feel like maybe where he feels like maybe they're undervaluing him, which is what a situation you don't want with Jacobs. So yeah, give him the franchise tag, possibly give him more than what he'd make per year. If I'm not mistaken, it's about $10 million, the amount for a running back this year. So. Um, I don't know. I like the idea of the franchise tag, and they needed to use it on somebody. So why not make Josh Jacobs a candidate? They had to. He was statistically he was the best running back in the NFL this year.
Yeah, and then some other news today: Orlando Brown, left tackle for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, will not be tagged, so he's going to hit free agency. And I wonder if the Chiefs will sign him back. But also, a part of me wonders: are they trying to save some money for possibly something big here? And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they're
Uh
trying to
oh.
get DeAndre Hopkins.
Uh-oh. You're doing it. Come on.
What?
Come on.
Come on, what?
Come on. The Chiefs are cutting Frank
Oh
Clark.
God.
They're cutting Orlando Brown.
Now, why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
Hmm.
Why would they do that?
Well, I don't just, allude to shit like that. I just straight up say it.
Why would they do that? It's
Now, why
interesting.
would the Chiefs not franchise tag Orlando Brown?
So
Hmm.
why
Could it
DeAndre
be that
Hopkins?
guy in Arizona that's possibly on the block to trade?
So is that what you're thinking? You're thinking they're going after
I
Hopkins?
think that could be a strong possibility. But then again, I've heard rumors of the Cowboys. I don't. Who the hell knows at this point? Because I will say this. Last year, you and I were talking this time of the year, and I thought that there was going to be little to no quarterback movement. And the NFL offseason turned into NBA free agency. And I don't know if it's going to be the same this season, but it very well could be craziness with trades. And this time last year is where we get all the crazy trades of Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Khalil Mack. So the next couple of days here, we could get, Arson Rodgers just deciding what he wants to do, and then everything kind of, shit hits the fan after that.
I mean, if he does not give an answer within the week, that's just so disrespectful. Like when if
He
like
will.
the GM Brian Gutekunst said straight up, we're expecting an answer by the time free agency starts. Like if Aaron Rodgers doesn't even give them the courtesy of an answer as to what he's going to do by then, which I'm sure he will, like that's just messed up.
I'm assuming that he's going to. I mean, what's tomorrow? Tuesday?
Yes,
Isn't that when he does his Pat McAfee hits?
correct.
We'll see about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah, I've thought about this too for a little while. Mike Silver brought this up as he's hearing things at the combine. Derrick Henry, he's got 1 year left on his Tennessee Titan deal. He's going to be 30 next season. So not this upcoming season, Stephen, but the year after.
Uh-huh.
And supposedly, along with Jalen Ramsey and DeAndre Hopkins, he is currently being shopped by Ran Carthon, sorry. And that's interesting, very interesting, because if the Titans are doing a whole rebuild here, that does make sense to move Derrick Henry at the prime of his career. He could garner a first round pick with how effective he was a season ago. And I saw that Mike Silver shot this down, but if I'm the Buffalo Bills, that's the guy I want to go get because that is the perfect spot for him, and they need him because they have everything else besides a fucking running game.
Yep. Yep. That's the one team we talk about all the time. Who's the one team that needs a running back? It is the Bills. The Bills are the number one candidate. Everyone else in the NFC East, they seem to be okay with where they're at in terms of running backs. So the Dolphins, they have pretty much every speedy guy from San Francisco from yesteryear. The
But they're
Patriots,
all free agents too.
good point. But what's it called? The Patriots, they have Ramondre Stevenson. They're pretty good. They're pretty well set up. The Jets with Brees Hall, everything. So in the AFC East, if you bring in Derrick Henry, I mean, you're already the best team there. He would only bolster that offense, and that makes sense, I think, for Tennessee to do that. I don't it's those situation where you're basically saying like we owe it to this guy because we made it to the AFC Championship, okay, but nothing further than that. Like we don't want to waste this guy's time because right now the Titans are in a strange situation where they don't know what to do with their quarterback. They might have one with Malik Willis, but he didn't really show too much last year whenever he had an opportunity, even though it was a very minuscule opportunity, but he still had one and didn't do much with it. So I see it makes sense. I can't believe it's happening though. Like the DeAndre Hopkins, the Derrick Henry thing, all of that.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see if all these guys get moved. Real quick, we didn't talk about this last time on the podcast. Because we didn't talk much combine, and we'll get to that in a little bit here, just because some of the quarterbacks that the Raiders could be in on kind of put on a show at the combine. But one guy that did not put on a show, he had to leave the combine for a little while, was Jalen Carter because he was arrested for reckless driving. And apparently it's in relation to his teammate being killed last season.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's the case. He's still going to fight it and try to get his innocence. I don't think at the end of the day, if he is found guilty, it's a misdemeanor. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But this is a guy that's probably going to be at the top of the draft as far as defensive players, him and Henry Anderson. So we'll see about that. But there's plenty of time before that goes down and everything. But that was an unfortunate thing to come up this week for Jalen Carter.
Yeah, it's nothing that he can. It's just a bad look to start. Like everything, whenever you read the details into it, just the idea that he possibly fled the scene, then came back, and then gave conflicting reports to police, saying at one point that he wasn't there, and then saying at another, that he was driving alongside the SUV or behind the SUV. Just all of it's a big mess. But it's all based on one report, though, too. So it's the innocent until proven guilty thing, because with the statement, it's not like the statement that John Morant put out, where it's just, hey, I'm going to take some time away and I'm going to focus on myself. This statement was, no, these reports are just totally inaccurate. And by the time that the full truth comes out, I will be exonerated, is what that statement said. It's just a bad look. I don't know what's going to happen in the draft. I don't know how it's going to shake things up in the draft. I still think that really a lot of like quarterbacks are going to be the priority at the start, but I don't know if that do you think that affects his draft stock at all?
Not entirely, unless other shocking, you know, allegations come forward. I don't think it's necessarily going to hurt him. He, he still is looked at as probably the top defensive player along with Henry Anderson. So I still see him going to the Bears, the Cardinals, 3-4 in those spots. So no, to be honest, I don't really see it hurting his draft stock.
You mean Will Anderson or Henry Anderson?
Sorry, my bad. Will Anderson. Thinking, who the hell's Henry Anderson? The
I don't know.
defensive end?
I just Googled him. He's a defensive end for the Panthers, who I've never heard of.
Nah, sorry, Will Anderson, the defensive end from Alabama.
Oh, he's played for Stanford. This Henry Anderson, 6'6", 31 years old. Wow. How about
yeah,
that?
not that great of a player. I don't know why he's on my mind.
And he was named first team All-State in 2009 by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which just so happens to be the same publication that had the reports on Jalen Carter. Wow, full circle.
Well, that is eerie. Moving on.
Moving on. Moving on. Jeez.
Oh,
phlegm,
right
man. Phlegm.
Yeah, it happens in the new location.
I hope not. I'm gonna complain.
Well, at least you don't have to deal with the cat lady anymore.
This is very true. Yep. She outlasted us, by the way, in the old apartment.
Her and the wall of smell.
Her and the wall of smell. It's no longer there. It may be on the other side of the building, but when we were leaving, she was walking outside with her dog. So she outlasted us in that apartment complex.
She was the last of us.
She was the last of us, correct.
Well, how's everything in the creek? You like the new apartment?
Love the new apartment. Love it. Although it's big hotel vibes. Big hotel vibes here.
That's nice.
Yeah, because we're like in a hallway. I've never lived in an apartment down a hallway before. All of them have been like outside, the complexes are outside. So this one's kind of like a hotel, although really annoying because it does give you a sense of security because, there's like multiple doors that you got to get into. But the first doorway you enter in, there's like this big step. It's like, why is there this step there? Then there's an elevator. There's a door that you got to get into for the elevator for security purposes and all this sort of stuff.
It sounds fancy, and you're just complaining about it.
It's very much first world problems, correct?
Yeah, seriously.
But you know what? This is a situation that we're dealt. I'm going to complain when I find the room.
Yeah, when you came to my place, the first thing you said was, "Wow, no elevator, huh?"
Is that what I said?
Yeah, because I have to walk up my steps, and you, like the fucking elitist you are just like, oh, you got to walk all these stairs, huh?
Well, it's true. It's a lot of stairs that you got to walk up just to get to your apartment.
2 flights. Could use the exercise, Steven.
Yeah, I could.
Speaking of exercise, C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson put on shows at the Combine, the only 2 quarterbacks of note to really throw. They were throwing deep, and they were impressive. And I saw all of the social media stuff for Anthony Richardson. He's taller than George Kittle. He's bigger than Hassan Reddick. He's faster than whoever. And that sounds all nice. But then again, this is why everyone says, you and I are like, oh, I hate the Combine. And then we get sucked into this stuff. He's got all the measurables. But let's see how things progress. I still don't know if the Raiders are completely out on Arson Rodgers. We'll see. But it's leaning in that direction. But Anthony Richardson and Will Levis are the guys projected to be in that 7th spot if the Raiders still stay there. But were you taken away from either of those guys at the Combine?
I mean, by how athletic they are, yes. But like you say, I don't put too much stock into it. Like I never do. They're kind of confirming what we all think, which is this new evolution of quarterback where now they're just all a bunch of Cam Newton types, except not necessarily the size, but guys who are just super athletic. Will Levis may not be that way. By the way, did you hear this about Will Levis? I did not know that he has like a fear of milk, and that's why the coffee and mayonnaise is a thing.
A fear of milk.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot. He's got lactate phobia. I don't even know what the word for it.
We're gonna do a little Joe Rogan experience, except we're not getting conspiratorial. All we're doing is like the producer Jamie. We're just pulling up the article here. Will Levis, fear of milk. Yes, deathly afraid of milk. And
Deathly afraid.
Deathly afraid of milk.
Well, also Will Levis is
here we go.
Got some red flags for not only that. Did you see how big of a Scott Hansen fan he is?
No.
So they had him at the combine and they said, "Hey, we have someone to talk to." And he's like, "Oh, cool." So he sees the big TV and there's a message for him. And of course it's, "Hey Will, Scott Hansen here. Just want to tell you, I know you're a big Red Zone fan, but next season you won't be watching a lot of Red Zone because you'll be on the Red Zone and you'll be a part of 7 hours of commercial-free football." And then Will just just melted as soon as he said, "Oh, it's Scott. Oh God."
Oh man, what is wrong with you?
I'm not a Scott Hansen guy.
You're not a Scott Hansen guy, but you're just
Robin Andrew Siciliano have a job.
This guy Will Levis clearly likes him, and he was happy that Scott Hansen gave him the full spiel, and you're just poo-pooing it.
Too bad. Drink some milk.
You're putting mayo in his coffee, but yeah, here you go. He has a deathly fear of milk. A series of tweets offered insight into just how deep the college athlete's fear of milk is and how detrimental it can be to his football career. And then it's a legitimate concern. I've been told he screams in terror at even the sight of milk, let alone the taste.
Okay.
It impedes his daily task.
You really want to draft this guy?
This is from delish.com.
I mean, not to be mean, but no, thank you. This guy's afraid of milk. How's he gonna treat a blitz? Just say it. It's a little ridiculous.
It really is. How's he gonna go against a cover 3?
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not trying to be mean here and skip Bayless and call somebody out for their fears, but good Lord, man, it's milk.
Hang on, I'm gonna put this up again. So the thing that gets me is where is it here? He screams at terror at even the sight of milk. So why wouldn't defensive linemen just bring out a bunch of milk?
If you're
and then just hold it in front of them.
If you're Chris Jones, why don't you just take big milk baths before every game, every time you play the Raiders?
Dude, this is not.
May not need to, but
this is not good for him. We are solving the Will Levis issue for defenses here. It's simple. Just bring some milk.
Bring the milk.
Bring the milk in a
I'm not a big milk fan either, but this is ridiculous.
In a clear flask. Bring out a bunch of clear flasks and milk, like where they put the towels, on the side of their pants, or maybe like in the shoulder pads, in the thigh pads or something, or even in the shoulder pads. Just pull it out, milk. Hey, Will, milky milk.
Seriously,
1%.
I mean, you listen to old NFL Films interviews of John Randall being like, "Oh, I used to study my opponents. I used to after I sacked a quarterback, I would scream the names of their children at the quarterback." He's like, "How do you know my kids' names?" This guy's just got easy, material. All you need is milk.
All you need is Clover.
Hey, Will, I got
2%
for your ass.
Yeah, so I'm out on him.
Okay, so Anthony Richardson's the guy.
Anthony Richardson is the guy, and he's the flashy new quarterback, the flashy talent, the classic tremendous upside guy, but you really don't know until he gets into the NFL. But it seems that, man, he makes a ton of throws. And you know what? If gosh, who was that? Who was that running back from Florida that was killing it this year? Whose
Oh,
name's escaping me
I know
right now?
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Gosh, why is oh my gosh, what is his running back in the NFL? I gotta look this up. Oh man, come on.
Oh man.
Oh man. This is bothering me. All right,
Well, finish your point first. I'll find it.
but the point is, like, maybe this is just another guy from Florida. Doesn't seem like anyone really looks at Florida as like a premier college where it's like you draft a player from that specific one, and now
Yeah,
it's,
Kyle
oh,
Trask.
we got a Florida Gator. Yeah, okay,
Well,
but where
that's the joke.
there it is, Damian Pierce. That's right, from the
Oh, yeah.
Texans. So, like, maybe he's a guy that no one has on their radar, but Damian Pierce was also like a fourth rounder, so that comparison was not apt. But anyway.
Yeah, we'll see about these guys. We still got a ton of time. We got personal, pro days. Bryce Young could put on a show, but compared to CJ Stroud, a little more frail than CJ. But
If you were, Derek,
if I were,
to participate in the combine, what would be your worst event, do you think?
I already know the vertical jump.
The vertical jump?
Hmm.
That's what I was thinking too. Like,
That is one of the most embarrassing moments for me in my life. High school football. We all did our own little mini combine measurables.
oof,
Doing that in front of the whole team and barely could get up. And everybody's like,
yikes.
"Come on, Papa, get up!" I'm like,
Yeah.
"You leave me alone. This is just fake football."
Yeah, give me a break. And then you're coaching the flag football team, and then you're yelling at a bunch of kids. You're
Now that
taking
was serious.
you're taking all your
I
anger
was
out on
Vince
them.
Lombardi with flag football.
You're taking your anger out because of your combine time from high school.
Damn right. It was better than Lombardi.
Yeah, yeah. I'd have to be the same. I think it'd be that. I don't know. Maybe
Maybe the Wonderlick if that came out and everybody thought I was dumb. Like people like knock Vince Young for that for years because he scored like a 10 on the Wonderlick, and everybody's like, "All right, leave him alone." Yeah, he wasn't a great quarterback, but Jesus.
Yeah, stupid wonder. Those are dumb. Those tests suck. Um, 3 cone I'd be okay at. Whatever. 20-yard shuttle, eh. Definitely not the bench press. Definitely not the bench press. I'd be terrible at it.
I remember doing the shuttle in high school, and my coach, Coach Burlingame, he had like a tick in his face, and he like snarl at you. I remember like I fucked up the cone drill or the shuttle, and it was just like freestyling and doing my own thing for whatever reason. And then I remember him just going, how do you get home at night? You can't follow directions."
Why am I not surprised that what I'm gathering here is that you made a mockery of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Just want to play the games. Let's go.
Yeah. What about broad jump? How far do you think you'd go for broad jump? Standing broad.
Broad jump. No. I was playing high school football. None of this shit matters.
No, I'm not asking what your high school score. I'm talking about now. I'm talking now when you're this so-called old man.
Well, I train very well with my 2 treadmills.
Gives you an edge.
No. I have no idea how I do the broad. Probably terrible.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find everything's in meters. So Ray Urey set the first world record for the standing long jump or the broad jump at 11 feet and 4.5 inches.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
I'm going half. I'm going half that. Like, what are the Scott? What I did not prepare for this question. I gotta look at the numbers right now. Dude, I will say this though, like, and you kind of said this before the podcast, but Don Terry Poe running a 40. No, it did not translate to the NFL, and no one knows how good he is. However, or no one knew how good he was at the time. They thought he was just based on his 40 time. But man, that guy from Georgia running like a 4.4, I think, the defensive end, Nolan.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely familiar. Yeah,
that is just unbelievable. Like, you talk about the evolution of quarterbacks, the evolution of edge rushers. Like, these guys are just becoming like just chiseled Herculean people. It's
Well,
crazy.
I mean, not that running backs, no surprise, are fast, but how about my guy Bijan Robinson?
What was his? I didn't even see Bijan's.
I think like 4.4.
Mm, DJ Turner's leading at 4.26. Jacorian Bennett 4.3. The fastest running back was Devin Akane
Yeah,
from Texas A&M. He was
yeah.
4.32. Trey Palmer from Nebraska 4.33. So if Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler want to keep up the Raiders' shtick of signing speedy guys, that will be their number one wide receiver that they draft if they ever do. A lot of cornerbacks on this one. There always is a lot of quarterbacks that are in the
You got to be fast to be a DB.
in the top in the 40-yarder for sure.
Real
Where
quick,
is it though? Where's the broad jump? I got to look up the broad jump.
who cares about the broad jump?
Ooh,
Um,
11.6 for the top guy. So yeah, I'm thinking half, maybe a little less.
I'll be lucky if I get half. Real quick, did you see this? These reports. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a report out there for the Raiders, and we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But you brought this up a couple podcasts ago, Steven.
Yep.
I saw a report out there that it's not likely to happen, but Josh McDaniels would be intrigued to trade for Mac Jones.
Yeah.
God damn, no.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, why would the Patriots do that? Second of all, why? Come on, Mac Jones and Devontae Adams. Are we trying to piss this guy off and make him regret coming to the Raiders in the first place?
Well, that's just a report though. That's
I
just
I I understand, but I do think that it's an option. Like it's they're thinking about everything when it comes to quarterback. Of you know, is Aaron Rodgers in the mix? Who knows? But they probably have floated the idea out there. If I know for a fact Bill's kind of frustrated. This is Josh McDaniels saying this. If he's frustrated with Mac Jones not playing his potential right away, and the Raiders want to get him, but I don't see that being a fit whatsoever.
hey man, Mac Jones had a Pro Bowl year when he was with McDaniels.
Yeah,
Maybe he
Pro
understands
Bowls don't mean shit anymore to me.
maybe he understands his offense better than most. I don't know what the reasoning is. Like all these are just reports though. I'm not even entertaining them. I saw the one about Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like, yeah, obviously they're interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo used to work with him, but like, and the Raiders do have a lot of cap space, so maybe they would be willing to sign Jimmy G. I don't know. I wouldn't
And
like
if you're
it, but
Jimmy, why would you want? If you don't like the Trey Lance experiment, why would you like this? Because there's no chance in hell. I think they signed Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's the guy going forward.
well, I don't think he's at a point in his career where he is going to be the guy anywhere he goes. He's that type of veteran quarterback where it's like, kind of like who were we just talking about? Kind of like oh gosh, who were we talking about where the team would draft a quarterback possibly? I don't even know. I can't Geno Smith,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
like another guy like Geno Smith where it's just you're going to be a veteran who maybe understands offenses and doesn't turn the ball over and maybe can read defenses, but you know, that's really where he's at in his career. I don't think he's going to be like a de facto starter wherever he goes anymore.
now you may be right.
I thought you were going to bring up the report cards.
Dude, I was just about to do it. Literally, like 2 seconds before you open your mouth and get angry for me not doing something quick enough, I was just about to do it, and now I'm not gonna do it out of spite. Now I'll do it
Why not?
just to spite you.
Mm,
That's the big thing that came away from the combine was the NFLPA report cards,
love it.
where they basically like whenever like at a job and it's a disclosed, if you want to talk shit about your bosses, this is what any gripes you have, go feel free. Your name won't be brought up. This is what the NFLPA did with their players. And it looks as if the Vikings scored the highest. The Raiders came up second, Cowboys and the Dolphins. And then there's some alarming ones. The Commanders and the Cardinals scored the worst with F minuses. And the Cardinals, good God, Michael Bildwell, gotta let you guys take your food home. So if the rule is, if you eat at the facility but don't finish the meal, you have to pay for that food to be boxed up and taken home.
Mm.
I've never heard of anything like that before in my life in professional sports. At the same time, if you come to work out in the off season, at the Cardinals facility if you're a player in the offseason and you want to eat at the facility, they take it out of your game check. That's ridiculous.
It's like,
Talking like ultra cheap shit here.
yeah, we're talking like even in Moneyball when we're talking about a team like the A's where they're known for their low value payroll and like Jermaine Dye's, asking who was it walking by? I forgot who was walking by. I think it was David Justice asking
There's David
somebody.
Justice. Welcome to
Yeah,
Oakland.
yeah. That's $1, man. Huh? Welcome to Oakland.
Yeah,
Except that wasn't real, apparently. But
that was real.
this
No,
is
that was real. Wasn't in
I heard it wasn't.
I could believe it either way.
Not heard. I read that it wasn't somewhere.
Well, there was a lot of shit in Moneyball that wasn't real.
This
Miguel Tejada,
this
Hudson, Zito, Mulder, none of them. Anyway,
this report card was the gift that kept on giving. Like just the random things that you'd be able to learn about these teams, at least with what the players had to say. Like the 49ers, their only gripe really was the fact that there's not enough room in the hot and cold tub area. It's like okay, that's fine. If that's going to be your worst grade, then all right. But like the
well, the
Commanders,
training facility, I guess they said was not great.
nah, it's too small. The Commanders, though, like, of course they all got Fs. Any team you'd expect to get Fs, it's no surprise, man. It really does start. Excuse me. It really does start from the top here, and it's just the fact that you can open up these little details,
Yeah.
and everything that they're involved in. That whole thing with the Cardinals and the food, that was probably the most glaring.
Well, what about the rat infestation?
Where? What?
The Jaguars.
The Jaguars have a rat infestation?
For 3 weeks, they were dealing with rats.
My goodness. Oh, that's terrible.
Here's some that I wrote down that kind of stood out to me.
Ooh.
So the Seahawks.
Uh-huh.
This is the case for a lot of teams, but the Seahawks don't have first class for the players, but they do get it for certain road victories. This I'm talking about on the charter when they go home.
Huh.
Now I don't know how that works with not having first class for a charter flight, but how do you determine that? Like if it's a good victory, is Pete Carroll like, all right, let's upgrade these boys?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell that means. I already said the Seahawks, said the Jaguars, Lions don't have enough shower space. Because Dan Campbell's always taking up the space with him and his bunch of coffees.
What? So you think he's just like keeping 2-liter bottles of coffee just in and using it as storage space for the bathrooms?
The image I have is all the guys ready to go take a shower, and then Dan Campbell just comes in with like a shower cap on and a loofah, be like, "All right, boys, who's gonna get my kneecaps?" Like, all right, get out of here. Commanders don't have enough hot water. Daniel Snyder, you can spare a little change for that. This one was actually interesting to me. Did you read this one about the Chiefs?
No.
Chiefs players don't feel comfortable disclosing injuries to the training staff and feel they'll be reprimanded if they do. Of all the teams that I thought would be associated with that, it was not the Chiefs.
Why?
But then again, just because, Andy Reid likes to, put mustaches on guys, I don't think he'd be that much of a hard ass.
Yeah, I guess. But is it really up to him, though? Like, I mean, it's up to the training
could
staff.
be the training staff, yeah.
A lot of these guys take the advice like all the time. They defer to their training staff whenever they're asked about these things.
True. Now, this one was the most damning to a head coach. And, of course, unfortunately, it's Josh McDaniels. Did you read this?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Doesn't listen to players and keeps them too long.
That sounds pretty on brand for what you've heard. Like the whole LaShawn McCoy thing, talking about Eric Bieniemy, that felt personal, right? Like that whole thing felt personal, and it turned out to be because a bunch of players were speaking out about it. But when the Broncos players like Brandon Marshall and all of them are going on their own podcasts and saying what they said about McDaniels, how he's really smart, but not a people person. Like this should come as no surprises to anyone who read about this dude. Like he said that he could turn a high school quarterback into a Pro Bowler or something like that, something
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
outlandish like that when he was a head coach. So I'm not too surprised by that.
No, I'm not either. But then again, like, is that the worst thing in the world if he's not a people person? Like, NFL head coaches are egomaniacs,
Right.
and Belichick's a huge egomaniac. Now, he may be more of a people person than Josh is, but the only thing that kind of alarms me is that that was the knock on him at Denver, and you would have thought he would have matured a little bit since then with everything that went on with the Broncos.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. So there's your NFL PA report cards.
I love it. I love it.
No,
They
no,
do this for every sport.
it was fascinating, and apparently it was the talk of the combine, where I don't think a lot of teams wanted that shit coming out, especially if you're the Cardinals. I mean, Michael Bibble looks like a cheapskate after that.
Who would want to go there anymore? Like who would really want to go there? And like it's even worse for Dan Snyder. It's like right after the news comes out about there's another investigation for financial misconduct, and there was like a secret loan that he took out,
Yeah, yeah.
$55 million. And then on top of that, it was not just the loan, but on top of that, it's plastering the Commander's logo on his private jet and charging them $4.5 million for advertising fees because everyone knows what Dan Snyder's jet looks like and everyone looks out for it. So it's like, I see that private jet of Dan Snyder. Hey, I'm going to go watch a Washington Commanders game now. Free advertising, baby. No, not really. And he's not willing to spend any money on his facilities. It's bad.
He just sounds like the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it sounds like he's keeping his team, and Jeff Bezos is looking to buy the Seahawks instead.
What's the other team or what's the other sport you want to see these report cards from?
I'd like to see it in basketball and baseball. I'd be interested. The A's would probably get the worst grades out of anybody.
That's what I'm really curious to hear about baseball. Like I really, especially with I don't know, maybe it's just because we're here in the Bay Area and it's in the little bubble, but um, like the A's and their whole move from Oakland, what's going through the players' minds there. I'm sure they're trying to just focus on the season, but also for the Giants, like how they run their organization, just their whole philosophy of we're going to do this by the numbers and the numbers only. I'd love to see what the reaction is to Gabe Kapler. Like I'd love to see all. I think I'm more choosing baseball over anything else. It's like the basketball players to me, they kind of wear their emotions on their sleeve. Like they just if something's not right, they probably are calling it out. Like they tend to do that. With baseball, it's a little more subdued, I guess, so to speak.
As a Giants fan, how do you think the players would like if if they were anonymous? How do you think they would feel about Gabe Kapler? Just curious.
Mm. I mean, I think they'd give him a B, but I also don't think that they'd buy into everything that he's selling.
Not even his dates.
His what?
You seen his date recipes on Instagram?
I haven't seen his date recipes. I saw one for like a steak tartar sauce or something like that. It would look
Bro, we're gonna make some dates tonight. All
he's
right, this is what you do.
he is all over
While
Instagram now.
while I'm listening to '90s hip hop, I'm making my dates.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's like, dude, Kapler's he's turning into a little social media influencer now. It appears.
Hey, good. It'd be good. I have no problems with Gabe Kapler. He's just I love Giants fans who are like, man, he's not Bochy. Well, no shit, he's not Bochy.
Right. No, no. I mean, no one's Bochy, but Kapler's fine. There's just the strut that he has going to the mound, and just the kind of demeanor that he has. I think it rubs some fans the wrong way. Like it's you don't want the guy who looks like he could be on literally the cover of every single men's fitness catalog until the remainder of time. They
But
want
isn't that also just the jealousy of men?
for sure. It's that's a huge part of it. They want, they want the Bobby Coxes, they want the Charlie Manuels, they want the Bruce Bochis, guys who are like struggling to walk out to the mound just to go and do so. The only time they really run out there, they want guys like Tony La Russa, who, like
Drinking on the job.
you want guys like who's another one out there right now? the guy from the Braves, Brian Snitker, like those types of dudes.
I get it. Yeah. But also, everybody would love to look like Gabe Kapler.
Right. It's 100%. Except I'm just not a fan of the shoes. That's the only issue I take. He's a big shoe guy, but I don't like literal big shoe guy. He likes big shoes, and those big shoes that he wears out to the mound and everything during game day. Not a big fan.
As they say in Shawshank Redemption, I never really noticed a man's shoes.
Yeah, but that's Shawshank Redemption. What do you mean? As they say in Shawshank Redemption,
It's a great line when he's walking and he's wearing the nice shoes. No one notices.
I never noticed a man's shoes
Exactly.
on his
It was
feet.
it was it was it was key to the plot, Stephen.
These ones look a little bit smaller. As I was talking to Red.
He is red. That's the voice you're doing.
Oh,
Uh,
I just want to see my friend.
I just want to see my friend again.
Well, who's the old guy's name? Who's the old guy's name that I was thinking of?
Oh, shit. God damn it. Ernie's gonna probably pop it up here on the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Anyway, continue.
While you look that up, let's play a little game of trade, cut, or staying put.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna throw some names at you, Steven.
Uh-huh.
These are people that have been rumored to possibly be changing teams.
Brooks was here.
Brooks, yes.
You've never Ernie. It seems like every single thing we talked about, Ernie's seen, and he's never seen Shawshank.
It's on AMC every weekend, Steven. Ernie, make some time.
Please do.
All right, I'm gonna throw some names at you that have been rumored to be moving on from their teams. You let me know if you think if they're going to be traded, if they're going to be cut, or if they're staying put. Let's get it out of the way right away. Aaron Rodgers. In this case, he's not getting cut, but is he going to be traded, retired, or is he staying with the Packers?
I think he's going to be traded. I think that he's done with the Packers. I think the Packers are done with him. I don't think they're going to do him any favors in the draft. And if he plays next year, he's earning $60 million guaranteed somewhere. So I think he's going to get traded.
I do as well. I think that all the reports indicate that the Packers are just hoping that he says he wants to move on. And even if he says, like, I want to come back to the Packers, they'll probably be like, yeah, we think differently. And they'll see what they get with him. I think that the Raiders, if you had to ask Aaron Rodgers, he'd probably tell you, I want to go to the Raiders. And this is where, like, the same thing with Tom Brady wanting to go to the Niners, where everybody in the Tom Brady want to go to the Raiders, where everybody's like up in arms about that now. If it comes out that Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to the Raiders and the Raiders say no, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler need to be prepared for that backlash. I do think that the Jets are more than willing to go after him. Is it going to cost them a first-round pick? I don't know. I would say maybe a second and conditional 2024 second-round pick that could turn into a first, depending on what he does. I do think that's going to end, and I do think he's going to go to the Jets.
Interesting. Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, traded, cut, or staying put?
Well, he definitely won't be cut.
Yeah.
And the fact that he doesn't have a quarterback, I think he'll force a trade out of there. So I see him being traded. I don't know where to. Maybe you're right with the Chiefs, but I think he's going to be traded.
If I had to guess right now, I think he got traded originally for a second and a fifth when he went from the Cardinals to the Texans, or the Texans to the Cardinals. And everybody back then was like, that's a crazy. You get a first-round pick for him. Now I think that trade compensation is more accurate for what he would get today. So I think that, yeah, I do think the Chiefs may make a move to get him, which would be interesting.
Hey, man, if he goes to the Cowboys, that'd be an electric wide receiver core right there. CeeDee Lamb, Andre Hopkins on both ends. Whew.
It would be. Jalen Ramsey. I don't think he's getting cut, but traded or staying put.
I mean, all these guys, man.
Yeah.
Trade. Yeah. I don't see him like all these guys that are on the block. I think they're all going to get traded. Continue.
Okay. I do think Jalen Ramsey. I could see the Cowboys for this one. I could see them cutting Ezekiel Elliott. I could see them cutting DeMarcus Lawrence. I could see them cutting Tyron Smith to make enough cap room to have both Trayvon Diggs and Jalen Ramsey on their team. But we shall see. All right, this is the one. This is where we get into guys that are not so cut and clear. And I've heard this thrown out there. And I can't believe after one season of playing on this team that they would consider doing this. But I have seen rumors of this. Khalil Mack, traded, cut, or staying put with the Chargers?
I think he'll stay put. I actually haven't heard this one. This is brand new. When did this come out?
It's not. You see a lot of that count on Twitter, NFL rumors.
Yeah.
Listen, I know a lot of I look at this stuff as well, but a lot of stuff out there like MLS football or something like there's a lot of bullshit out there too. However, I saw this floated and it has been discussed because the Chargers are in salary cap hell right now, even with a quarterback that's on his rookie deal, and they would save a shit ton of money if they did cut Khalil Mack. But my opinion is, you just traded for the guy. You didn't have a full season with him and Joey Bosa playing together. Don't you want to see how that plays out?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. I think he's gonna stay put. That's not
Okay.
gonna I don't think that's gonna happen.
Now, same team. Keenan Allen. Tom Telesco, the GM of the Chargers, went on Good Morning Football and said, I'm not getting rid of Keenan Allen. He's my Charlie Joyner. Thing is, Keenan Allen's been hurt the last couple seasons, and I think they can upgrade at that position. So I originally would say yes, I think Keenan Allen's going to get cut, but the GM came out and said they're not going to do it. So either he takes a massive pay cut or they trade him. I mean, I don't think it makes sense for them to keep Keenan Allen, to be honest.
Really?
I don't think so. I think they paid Mike Williams. He's a younger guy, the more explosive guy. Keenan Allen's going to be 30 something or just turning 30. I would move on from Keenan Allen. I would cut him.
Well, you can't bank on Mike Williams being healthy.
You can't either, but if they did cut Keenan Allen, you make the case for the Chargers to go after DeAndre Hopkins. I think that'd be a huge move for Justin Herbert.
Well, if they manage to do that, if they manage to get like an upgrade, but I don't see them just cutting him, just outright cutting him just because he's injured a little bit. Like him and Justin Herbert work really well together, so I don't see that happening. I think he's staying put.
All right.
Barring a massive trade, though, like I mean, if they can find that they can get DeAndre Hopkins as opposed to Keenan Allen, then okay. But I think he's staying put.
This is also a big time where the big thing last year was Pete Carroll said we have no intention of trading Russell Wilson, and then again they did.
Yeah, well, no intention though.
That's different than Tom Telesco straight up saying we're not getting rid of Keenan Allen, which
Right.
be big if they did that. But I think they should.
It's serious when they start talking in slang words. It ain't happening. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You're serious. Okay. Won't ask anymore.
Mike Evans, trade, cut, or staying put?
I think he's staying put, but probably be in his best interest to get traded.
I think he's gonna get traded.
Really?
I think the Bucks they got some financial issues. He's gonna be 30 or 31. They got to figure out they got to cut some ties with a lot of players that Tom Brady put them in the red. I think they're gonna move on from Mike Evans.
Interesting. All right. Well, he's on the last year of his. He's on the last year for his base salary deal. I think the club has like an option with a restructure, or they've restructured it over the next 3 years. His contract's super confusing, but I see him staying put. I don't see Mike Evans going anywhere.
Ryan Tannehill.
Isn't it too soon to tell with Ryan Tannehill? I mean, I don't think he's going to be traded. I don't know what kind of value you'd get for him, but
don't think he's going to get traded. But I could see them cutting him.
Maybe before the season starts, like if they don't find there's any value there. But yeah, I mean, I could see that happening. I think Ryan Tannehill is probably going to be on the team next year, but there's a chance they can cut him.
I could see them also just wanting to play Malik Willis and see what they got, and then this could be like a huge make or break season where Rand Carthon's like, okay, I didn't draft these guys, so what do you got? And you throw Malik Willis to the Wolves, and then you're like, okay, this is not what I want.
Right. Well, let's see here. What does he have? He's got one more. I mean, they got to. I don't know if they're going to do that. They got to pay a lot of money if they have to cut him. He's going to be $18 million in dead cap money.
Yeah, but if we've seen anything with dead cap, these teams don't give a shit.
It's true.
I think it's a strong possibility.
Okay.
And then, which leads me to the next one we brought it up earlier. Derrick Henry, traded or staying put?
Traded.
I think he's going to get traded, and that's going to cause a lot of Tennessee fans to be pissed. But I do think it's the right move.
think a lot of Tennessee fans feel it's the right move. I was looking at some comments earlier. I think there are quite a few who are just like, you know what, he deserves to go elsewhere because our team's not going anywhere. We had our chance, our window's closed. We need to find a way to open one, and that doesn't include Derrick Henry being on the roster anymore.
And last one, Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, I think it could be cut.
I would because they franchise tag Tony Pollard today. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think you got to do that.
Make Pollard the starter. Make him the number one. Do not have another situation like the game against the Texans where you're going downfield and it's just Pollard sitting on the sideline. Can't happen.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let's switch to basketball
Ooh.
we'll get to more football as the days progress, and we'll see what happens with everything with the fuckery. Um, Warriors had a 5-game win streak, looking really good. They got Steph Curry back yesterday. They start Dante DiVincenzo over Jordan Poole, which Dante gives a little more defense than Jordan Poole, I guess. Andre came back as well. Still don't know what's going on with Andrew Wiggins, and it doesn't sound like we'll get any clarification on what's going on there for the foreseeable future. But they go out and lose again on the road, and it's not a huge road game. It's still on the West Coast. But whatever it is, they are terrible on the road this season. 7-24. They are right up there with the Pistons and Rockets and Spurs, the three worst teams in basketball, as the worst road teams. And yesterday they just didn't have an answer for Anthony Davis. They lack the size there to contain him. It's just one game, but they've lost the series lead to the Lakers this season. I think they've lost 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
So not alarming to me because Lakers made some good moves. Like even without LeBron James, they're still a pretty good team, and I expect the Lakers to be at least a play-in team.
I wish
Um,
LeBron was back just so he'd get off Twitter.
why? What is he doing on Twitter?
He tweeted this yesterday. Just woke up from having a dream that MJ and I was shooting the SH Star addition sign back and forth at the men's national championship game between North Carolina and Duke. Great vibes, an epic classic game. It was a tie game, 94-94, 5 seconds left, NC with the ball. My ass would wake up to use the bathroom right before seeing the ending of the game. Happens all the time. Never get to the end. Anyways, felt real as hell. LOL. GM everyone. Good morning.
Do you ever have vivid dreams like that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never I never do.
All the time. Well, there's a certain reason for that, Derek. But
What does that
uh,
mean?
I'll tell you after the podcast. And another one, like this is too much. Okay, I got one more from LeBron. This just I think this he tweeted this during our.
You're talking a lot for a guy that sends a lot of unnecessary tweets.
I don't send a lot of unnecessary tweets.
Sometimes I'm like,
Um,
Steven, does that need to be said?
like what?
Everything.
Like what?
Oh, I brushed my teeth today. Like we don't need to see that, Steven.
When have I ever said something like that?
I'm just trying to give an example. I'll go. Well, keep talking. I'll find an example.
If I was judging you based on your Twitter, I'd just assume you were a person who's mad about sports all the time. If I was
Well,
just
that's
judging based on your Twitter.
I
But I know you, Derek, so you're
think
not that guy.
I think that's the case.
You're
Oh,
not that guy.
well, okay. This is half and half. I'm
You're
like
better
I
than
didn't
that.
know this. I didn't know this until you tweeted it out about Dylan Brooks. But I was
Mhm.
like, actually, that was helpful because I actually didn't know that quote. So actually, I'll give you props for that one.
Yeah, I get really frustrated with that one because like there's an ESPN article that comes out and then people all quote like the publication that's just giving you like the quote with no context. Very frustrating. But here's the other one from LeBron. Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit, lightweight, hilarious. Oh, by the way, he didn't put the
Yeah,
star and the addition sign, the plus sign. He just swore right away. So maybe his mood changes from morning to night. But like, come on, man,
Maverick
Bronny,
Carter told him you got to clean up the language.
come on, man, Bronny, seriously? Like, I know he's your son, but like, come on. I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway, the Warriors. I just
Can't figure him
watching.
out. Can't figure him out at all.
Well, especially on the road, but just watching them yesterday. and then or prior to that, watching the Mavs and the Suns. This is the first time in a while where I think the Warriors do not have the most talent on the court anymore. If they were to go into a series with the Suns, Suns have more talent. Even maybe playing the Mavs, I still take Steph Curry and Clay over Luca and Kyrie. But
Well, you also got Andrew Wiggins. Don't forget about Wiggins. I know he's been
yeah,
tagged
well, yeah,
with a family
yeah.
issue for a long time, but um, yeah, I
I
think
just
Wiggins fills out that roster, and I think DiVincenzo's turned into a solid bench guy, like the seventh guy in the rotation. Jordan Poole, number six. The only problem is after that, I guess you got Kaminga, but Kaminga can be inconsistent at times. Kaminga's though he was fantastic against the Pelicans on Friday. Yesterday, Jordan Poole was awful. He had a great week though. He bounced back in the last week with those 3 games. But dude, they're impossible to figure out. I really don't know. Like no one has an answer, I don't think.
like let's just say hypothetically they get into the play-in tournament and they lose the first round, but they win the second round and they become the eighth seed and they play the
Mm.
Nuggets. I, you know, even with how well the Nuggets have been playing, I like the Warriors' chances against the Nuggets. However, if they were to play the Celtics or the Suns or the Bucks at this point, I think they lose.
Yeah, I think so. I'm more I'm not really I guess the Suns, yeah. I'm not completely sold on that though. I'm not completely sold because I thought the Celtics were gonna. I thought I said the Warriors in like 7 or something like that, but I said it with a little trepidation because I thought the Celtics were actually. I thought they had a pretty good chance of winning, but there's a mental thing that happens with the Warriors. They may not have the talent, but man, when other teams like see Steph and Clay and they realize one shot's gonna fall, like I think it was when it was Tyronn Lue when he said it after that game against the Clippers. He says, "Man, when one of those guys sees something go in, like you're going to have a tough night on defense." And I
Yeah.
think that the mental aspect of the game, what goes on in the head, I think that plays a huge role into it. So
Medulla oblongata.
maybe they do have more talent and maybe Clay is a step slower on defense, so he's starting to get his offensive rhythm back. Draymond Green is still a liability offensively and is, continuing to just pass up on wide open layups or Kaminga turns the ball over, whatever. But if the Warriors are clicking, man, they can be tough to stop. And I think this past week, it showed in the third quarter, like they are capable if they just stick to that game plan. And they managed to work it to perfection against the Blazers. Like I think they'd be able to do that against the Nuggets. Um, and Nikola Jokic, I think they can neutralize him or make him the only guy that actually does anything. But it'd be really hard for the Bucks. I think the Bucks are the team that scares me the most. Giannis just terrifies me.
I don't know, dude. If they get into a series with, because right now they're fifth and the Suns are fourth, I don't think it stays that way. But if they were to play in a series right now, the Suns are probably taking them to school.
Maybe.
We'll see. I mean, like that's the thing. You could see them losing in the first round. You could see them winning it all again. Who the hell knows at this point? But they're just a little too inconsistent for my liking this season.
Yeah. But that's what they were last year, though. Like they
Not
lost.
to this extent. Not to this extent.
I mean, when they lost to a Lakers team that was like 4-20, I think, in their last 24 games, and they lost to a Lakers team who had essentially just given up. I remember that last year. I was down. I was like, I don't think the Warriors are winning it after this one. This is the line that I draw here. It's like, okay, if you
But
lose
they
this,
always lose the Lakers once every season.
well, it was a Saturday game, and
No,
that
I was at the game, Steven. I remember. That was the
and
day before the winning time aired, and it was too much Lakers for me.
at the time, I was just like, all right, season's over. Like, well, not over, but I don't see them doing much. And then look where they were at. So could be totally different. I'm done making any forward predictions with what's going to happen to them because they could just flip it in that instant. And you know what? Since I'm a Warriors fan, I'll just say since it fuels them as motivation, I think they're going to lose. That's it. And then Steph Curry can go to the podium and be like, he's the petty king. He heard all that noise. He heard just your opinion, man. So there you go.
It'd be hilarious though if Steph's always like, I hear everything. Did you hear about Stephen Langford and Just Your Opinion, man? The hell is that?
He's like, nah, nah. I was more talking like Stephen A. or talking Skip Bayless. I don't know what that is.
So it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. They play the Thunder tomorrow, and then they play the Grizzlies on Thursday. And the Grizzlies are, would you say they're the most unlikable team in sports right now?
Unlikable team in sports. Uh, I think they have one of the most unlikable players in sports in
Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks.
Well, he got suspended last night
I like yeah, for the technical.
for the text.
I like Jaron Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bain. Um, I actually like Brandon Clark too. I think Brandon Clark's awesome. Steven Adams is very likable. So no, I don't think they're the most unlikable
But
team.
everything that's going on with them right now, and it's mainly because of Ja. But Dylan Brooks calling out Draymond and the Warriors, and Dylan Brooks just likes to talk shit. Kind of a kind of cheap too, honestly, with his shit, the antics he does. But John Morant, uh, with all the accusations going on with him lately, from whatever was going on with the Lasers, with the Pacers, and I guess the 17-year-old kid that he punched or slapped, 17 times, whatever the count is, and then pulling a gun on him. And then to the video, the IG of him at the club with the gun. And now he's suspended 2 games and possibly more because that was a road game in Denver. And he very well could have taken the gun on the flight. And you saw, Taylor Jenkins before the game last night saying, like, there's no timetable for this suspension. John Morant is kind of spiraling out of control a little bit here, and I hope he goes back to being the humble dude that gave that waitress, a $500 tip.
Yeah, I don't know what the stress is that he's talking about, but gotta be honest, I thought the like we didn't see the video, like the one with the 17-year-old is the one to me where I was like, oh damn, something's up here. But the one in the nightclub, I thought it was gonna be like a video where he's in a club and he's literally like showing off the gun, got like his hand on the trigger, maybe the safety's on, and he's actually handling it and he's, like kind of throwing it around, not just like carrying it with 2 fingers really quick, then just holding it up and then putting it back down. Like I thought it was gonna be a little more like of a display of his gun rather than just like a quick flash and holding it like someone who, accidentally picks up a gun. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that just goes to show that's a guy that looks like he doesn't know how to handle a gun. At the same time, like, it's not a good look.
No, it's a terrible look. It's awful. It's just when I read it, I was expecting a little more than just, you know, the look of, hey, it looks like I found a gun in a nightclub, and he just like
Like McGruver, like I don't know how to use one of these things.
no, it's just like it's just something that he found, and then all of a sudden he's just on IG Live, like, look, I found a gun, whoa, and then just like that's what it looked like to me. But whatever he's going through, I hope he gets the help that
Yeah.
he needs. I don't know what's been going on with him. And he's one of the most fun players in the NBA to watch. And he's 23 years old, man. He can come back from this.
No, I think so too. And I no, besides the alleged incident with the 17-year-old kid, no one's been hurt. Like, you hear these stories about Plaxico Burress going to a nightclub and the gun went off and he shot himself. It's it's a growing and maturing thing. Hopefully he goes back to being one of the best exciting players to watch in basketball.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, let's do a little pop culture catch up.
Ooh.
You have that ready to go?
Do I?
Oh, do I?
Always.
Did you watch Travis Kelce on SNL?
No, I'm over SNL.
So am I. You're not missing much. He did a fine job. There were some funny moments with the monologue where he made fun of Patrick Mahomes and his brother. He did a fine job. It was just the material. SNL is damn near unwatchable these days. I don't think it's funny at all.
Also, like, I don't know. Looking back at the old clips, like SNL is hilarious, but it's kind of because it was like groundbreaking television, like, and it was stuff you hadn't really seen before. And the people that are on Saturday Night Live now, to me, it's like nothing too original.
No,
There's skits here and there that I'll laugh at, but like if I see a SNL clip, I'm most likely not gonna watch it. I have a bunch of people telling me to watch it. I'm just like, I don't know. And then so I did. I watched like the one where it's like Travis Kelsey picking guys up or picking girls up, picking the wives up of husbands. Like I don't know. It's up.
But that wasn't even on the original broadcast. That was cut.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
the ones they chose to do, like all of them, I felt like the same. Like Travis Kelsey was the good looking dude that was a part of a sketch. Like that, there wasn't really no originality from one sketch to the other as far as using him as a different character. It
yeah,
was just like Travis Kelsey, cool. He's on the Chiefs. Let's find a way to incorporate him in our usual shit. And most of it was not funny.
yeah. It's. Sorry, Saturday Night Live. I used to love Saturday Night Live.
Oh
Like
yeah, of
I
course.
would watch that religiously when I was younger, but nowadays just kind of over it. I don't really even. I don't know. I don't find the humor in it too much.
They're afraid to like Michael. Like it's funny to watch Michael Che on his HBO show, and they'll watch on SNL. It's just totally different. It's corporate. It's very a lot with a lot of comedy these days. You're just afraid to be funny.
Yep, yep.
Which leads me to a guy that's never afraid to be funny. Did you watch Chris Rock stand up?
I did not watch Chris Rock stand up. I only watched the clip with Will Smith or about Will Smith.
Incredible from start to finish.
Yep.
Probably the most I've laughed at a stand up special in a long time.
Mm,
Was he a little crotchety and old man at certain points? Yes. Like him and Dave Chappelle are going down and like a road of like, kind of being like Jerry Seinfeld in a way of like I've earned my respect over the years. I can talk about how much money I've made where I'm like I don't really care. But for
right.
the most part I agree with everything he said and yes, he eviscerated Will Smith. I'm glad that he waited a full year to comment on this and I know he's done it and, lesser stages. Everyone I've heard said that they've seen him live. He's talked about it before, but never live like this. And everything from talking about him and Jada Pinkett Smith's relationship, and calling him out for, uh, being a bigger man than him physically. Um, Called him a bitch, like repeat, like the way he did it was genius. He didn't directly call him a bitch, but he did it in a way where he kept doing it over and over again without directly referring to him as that.
Well,
So
he calls like he says it's the actions, right? Like the actions are that of a bitch, is
well,
what he said.
he just goes like Charlemagne called him it, and the View called him it, and he just keeps
Yeah,
going over and over again with the implication of what he thinks.
right.
I mean, like whatever apology Will Smith gave to him was not enough, and of course, like Chris Rock's a comedian, so he's going to use it against him.
Mm,
Um, and I could tell a little bit that it got to Chris Rock in the sense that he felt like he could just emasculate me like that in front of a live audience because him and his wife are going through some issues, and he that I guess that bothered him a little bit too. But he also made the point of I'm not gonna be a victim. I'm not gonna go on, you know, some talk show and be like, oh, Will Smith slapped me. Oh, like no,
yeah.
but like I thought he handled it perfectly as a comedian should.
Yeah, agreed. And no, I still need to watch like the full thing though. But the whole thing with Will Smith, I don't know. I've tried to tune that out. Will Smith has been like too much of a fixture in my life to where I'm just, to how he's looked now.
You're over him now.
Not over him. I just don't like to, think of all the hatred that he's getting. I try not to think of the slap, I try to think of the old Will Smith, the sick Will Smith punching aliens and, you know, uh, clapping when he just got a job in San Francisco or, uh, you know, dancing and doing the cool ass handshake with DJ Jazzy Jeff. And yeah, I don't know. I can't even think about this version of Will Smith. It makes me sad.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that him and Chris Rock are beefing, you know. Just
I
don't
wouldn't say they're beefing. It's just Chris Rock just gave his honest opinion about him, and now he's gonna move on.
yeah, I think they both will too. As far as what I'm watching,
Okay.
what have I watched? Uh Ernie, are you watching The Last of Us? I am. I
Yes.
just caught up on not at the latest episode. I only just watched episode 7. So the one about uh what's her name? How am I blanking on her name already?
Ellie.
Ellie. Yeah, the one with Ellie and her whole origin story. So just watch that one. Pretty
It's a good
darn good.
episode. It's a good episode.
Pretty darn good. I love how HBO acts like HBO says like, out of all these thousands of actors, they had to audition and they chose these people. That's what makes it so special. I'm like, okay, well, they were on HBO shows before, like there's a little bit of,
Is that girl on a different HBO show?
yeah, that plays a sister in Euphoria, and she's really good.
Oh,
So like there's always a connections with HBO. And then Ellie, of course, played the Game of Thrones character. Um, just finished up Severance. Damn,
yeah, it's a great show.
damn. I hate that cliffhanger. That was whew, I haven't felt that way in a
She's
while.
alive.
Dude, I straight up haven't felt that way like watching the end of an episode since I haven't felt that way since like watching like an episode of Lost, where it's just like, oh my god, I gotta move on to the next season. Like I gotta move
Never
on.
got into Lost.
Oh, so good. And then what was the other thing? Oh, shrinking. Shrinking. Apple TV, they're doing this new thing now where like, and Ted Lasso kind of started this, but the shows, there's drama, but like it makes you feel good at the end. And Shrinking is kind of like Ted Lasso in that way.
Yeah.
And except it's involving like therapy. And I mean, I think Harrison Ford's a damn treasure in that show. He is so funny.
Did you ever say to Jason Segel, "Get the hell out of my office"?
No, he does. Wait, yes, he does.
Oh,
Something
perfect.
something to that effect.
Get the hell off my plane.
Harrison Ford's so funny though. He's great in that. Jason Segel's just awesome. And then the supporting actresses, there's like this neighbor. I don't know the actress's name. I've never seen them in anything. The girl who plays Jason Segel's daughter. It's really good. I highly recommend Shrinking. It's just a feel good show, easy little sitcom to watch.
Now, on the flip side of that, did you ever see the Apple TV show, The Shrink Next Door?
No,
Watch that. Disturbing, but really good with Will Ferrell and Paul
Paul
Rudd.
Rudd, right?
Disturbing.
Really?
Not like incredibly disturbing, but just like, ugh,
Yeah.
how could you let that happen?
Oh, see here now. I'm just scrolling through Twitter, Derek. See, this is the thing that bothers me. We see the LeBron tweet. Now it's getting posted. Oh, twice in a row. Oh, Bleacher Report.
Okay, what's the deal with Kevin Hart and images now?
I don't know. He's just used as a meme.
Okay.
I don't like the disrespect that he gets either. He might be in a little too many things, but man, Kevin Hart's just a naturally hilarious person.
Sure.
Come on, man.
I liked him in 40-Year-Old Virgin. Um, yeah, I'm debating whether or not I want to keep up with Ted Lasso when it comes out next week.
Why?
Because the second season was just a little too much for me.
A little too much, huh?
Just in like that's not how reality works. But then again, I'm probably just being an old curmudgeon. Just like,
So if you want to watch reality TV, Derek.
yeah, I know. I'll get over it, and I'll use my mom's Apple TV account, and I'll probably watch it.
There you go.
Actually, while I was at my mom's, I watched a lot of what I usually watch this time of year to get not sucked in by the rumors. Food Network, a lot of Chopped, a lot of you seen the show Beat Bobby Flay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, but like that show's ridiculous.
Why?
Because the whole show is like, man, Bobby Flay's the shit. Let's see if someone can actually beat him. And 9 times out of 10, nobody does because it's his show.
Yeah. It's because
So
it's hard to beat Bobby Flay. That's why there's a show about it.
Yeah, the whole thing is just like, oh, Bobby Flay's so great.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
what's your issue with people who are like popular at their craft?
It's just kind of a, like, I don't know, like you never see that from like is there any other chefs that do that? Like I have a whole new perspective after I watched the menu. We're just like celebrity chefs thinking that they're the shit.
Right, but the menu's like the menu's more of like a
Gordon Ramsay spoof, I would say.
isn't that like a more of a like a take on food culture and just how dumb it is?
Probably, but like after seeing that movie and then watching the Food Network shows. I was like, at the end of the day, it's just food. People just eat the goddamn food.
Yeah, the Chopped thing always gets me because I could do Chopped. I could be the host of that show.
Oh, that guy does nothing.
I could be the host. I got glasses and I don't do anything. I just bring you to commercial break way too soon.
God, why'd you make him sound like you see in Curb Your Enthusiasm? You made him sound like Marty Funkhauser.
Did I?
I'm sorry.
Um,
I didn't mean to do that.
You guys want to hear a joke?
Hey, I got this funny one that I wanted to.
oh my god, that
You
hurts.
weren't my best friend. I'm not your best friend. Yeah, a lot of Food Network shows. But now I'm back in the fuckery of watching NFL Now and Good Morning Football just to get the news.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful. But I've also been catching up, dude. Letterman. He
The sit down interviews.
no, the not the what's it called? Not the Netflix show.
No,
But he has like his own YouTube channel, although it's not his, but somebody runs it and they just post like a bunch of old clips, and they got one, and I think it's fascinating. They have one where producers and writers and people who work behind the scenes for a long time. Oh God, excuse me. People who work behind the scenes for a long time, they kind of give the inside scoop as to how, some of the things some of the things they did came about. And it's just hilarious getting some behind the scenes stuff on like what guests do and how they treat the producers and just how everything happened. I don't know. It kind of makes you think. It's kind of like Saturday Night Live, I guess, where maybe it wasn't like the funniest television of all time when you look back at it, but it was so groundbreaking that nobody else was doing it, and you'd never really seen anything like that before.
so is it just behind the scenes of Letterman back in the day, or
Well, they post a bunch of clips and stuff. Like that's
okay?
mostly what they do. But they're the little segment I'm talking about is like the staff writer memories or the producer memories, and normally they're really funny. And
And it's in relation to Letterman.
yeah, it's all a Letterman YouTube.
Hey, listen, I love me some Letterman, but to be real, like I'm sure if you ask those guys, they'll be like, yeah, there were good times. It's a lot of Letterman being creepy with the interns, but yeah, it was, it was funny.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure there is, but it's crazy how it's like it all revolved around him. Like it was like all these staff writers,
Yeah,
everything was just how are we going to make Dave laugh? And it's just I don't know, never going to really see anything like that again.
you won't, because I think that late night talk shows are dying a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I'll give you the chance to talk about UFC 285.
I didn't watch any of it.
Never mind then. All right
I
then.
was moving, but I was moving, so I didn't get the chance. And no, but I saw the results obviously, and John Jones making his return. Though, like
Chandler Jones' brother.
I was not into UFC before, but the guy's done so much that like anywhere else he'd be ousted. Like with all the stuff that he's done, with all the stuff that he's pulled. Like John Morant has to take some time away because of these little incidents involving, a gun. But like what John Jones has done in his past, he has such a checkered history over the years as he was the champion. Like,
Really?
yo, yeah, go and look it up, man. He's got a bunch of everything, and like anything like the athletes have been, yeah, like I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's been DUIs involved. He's failed like 5 different drug tests. It's just been nonstop with him, and I don't know. John Jones to me just comes off as like, I mean, he absolutely could kill anybody that he wanted to. He's a damn good wrestler. He's so big. He's so lengthy. He's kind of like Chandler Jones. It's
Well,
funny how much like his brother he is. Where he's using his length. He's not necessarily the quickest, but he has these moves. That's what John Jones does, and he just comes off as disingenuous whenever he talks. I don't know, something about him
yeah.
doing the bah at the end. Come on.
Yeah, I saw that. All right then. Well, before we get out of here, today, 25 years ago, just your opinion, man, was the phrase of the great movie The Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I can't believe it's been 25 years. I mean, I don't remember when that movie came out because I was so young, but it's just still to this day hilarious and such a pop culture phenomenon, and made Jeff Bridges the. It's crazy how that guy had his career before The Big Lebowski. Like you see him in movies, and I've said this before, like he was the uptight like business guy, and then that movie made him into the guy that we kind of know him today as kind of the hippy dippy dude.
A zookeeper in King Kong.
The original King Kong.
Yeah, 70s version of King Kong.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of "'Twas Beauty That Killed the Beast" with
No.
Jack Black.
No. 25 years ago, though, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. And it was not a hit whatsoever when it came out. It was the follow up to Fargo for the Coen brothers, and people did not know what the hell it was, and it just took a life of its own. There's Lebowski fests now, and it's a phenomenon. It's everybody quotes John Goodman and Steve Buscemi and uh, Julianne Moore and Jeff Bridges, and it's just a classic movie. There really is no plot, just like a crazy stoner noir, but it's just a fantastic movie.
Yeah, Jessie wasn't too thrilled when I made her watch it.
Yeah, see, that's tough because like I certainly didn't grow up with the movie. I watched it over time, but if you just don't get it, you don't get it.
Right. He had a run in the late 2000s.
Jeff?
Yeah. Like he was in everything. He started it. He was in Iron Man.
Tony Stark.
He was in Crazy Heart, where they won the Oscar.
Crazy Heart. For some reason, I make Jeff Bridges out to be Bill Walton.
R.I.P.D. Hell or High Water.
R.I.P.D. was terrible.
I never watched R.I.P.D.
I watched that one night. I would love to hear a sit down with Jeff Bridges and Bill Walton. Just them listening to Grateful Dead.
I would not want to hear that. Actually, that sounds very.
That'd be hilarious.
Maybe, or they just wouldn't talk.
Hey man, like Jeff Bridges is doing his thing, and then Bill Walton's like, "Throw it down, young man. Put down the dead." By the way, so Tom loves himself some Bill Walton, and I have Bill Walton's number, so I'm gonna try to get him on with the show. Bill Walton is a very busy man between doing NBA games and doing college basketball game, but he left me a text that's the most like whimsical text of just like it was just fantastic of him just be like, "Derek, I'd love to come on with TT sometime. Just got to find the time, but we'll figure it out, young man. Peace and love for everyone, including TT."
Did he really say that?
I read it in his voice, so yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so good.
I know. I'm just waiting for him to leave him a voicemail and be like, "Derek, you let me know what time you wanted me to come on. Peace and love."
So as we were doing the podcast, just got this update. Trey Wingo, per sources, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets had conversations today. While nothing is imminent, Rodgers is open to the idea of going to New York.
Interesting.
So there you go.
Well,
it's already started.
I texted Trey Wingo earlier today, so hopefully he responds to my text.
The jet engines are starting.
I can't do a Trey Wingo impression if you're expecting me to do that, Steven.
Who can? Is there anyone that really can do a Trey Wingo impression?
It's a Wingo Wednesday.
No, that's not going to work. Just because you say the words that he says does not mean this is an impression.
So per sources, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets had conversations today. While nothing is imminent, Rodgers is open to the idea of going to New York. Well, I did see Aaron Nagler. This kind of fell under the radar, but he tweeted out. I want to get the actual tweet itself, because God forbid I don't get it right. Where is it? Well, I can't find it, but basically, wait, hold on. Sorry.
You're good.
It's towards the end here.
Now I'm looking up all of his tweets.
I know, it's too many. Basically, there was one where he's just saying, like, not to add to the whole Rodgers thing, but he did go to New York. Okay, in a shameless effort to contribute to Rodgers' watch, the Packers quarterback is currently in New York City. I'm surprised no one's picked that up more, because I'm assuming that this is like a domino effect where he's, Derek Carr goes to the Saints today. He's doing his darkness retreat. He's going to go visit the Jets, see if he likes the idea of being a Jet, and then when you're a Jet, you're a Jet all the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To your last dying breath, to your last dying day.
Yeah. And I got a text from John Curley, so he probably saw the Trey Wingo text.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, Derek, my man.
Got some trades, my man. Well, that's enough for tonight. We'll see if anything happens tomorrow or Wednesday. If there's any new breaking news, we'll do a new show Wednesday, possibly.
Yeah, we'll get that done.
But if nothing new, we'll see on the weekend. But I'm assuming things are going to go down, so we'll probably most likely see you Wednesday. Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
Ooh, hashtag Jared from Subway is trending on Twitter. I will go search that up. That's just our opinion, man. Wait, I haven't ended the broadcast. No, I accidentally did. No, hit